All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Take 5 at 5. So first of all, I'd like to give all of you a high five for being here. High five. Yes. And today we have our guest speaker, Tk Chang, the CSE of Quantum Leap Technology. He's going to be here to share with us the topic, how to stay unsinkable amid COVID-19. Yay! Okay, so first of all, let me just give you a brief introduction about Tk Chang. Tk Chang is the author of Unsinkable Salesmanship Secret. I bought this book from him in the year 2014. As you all can see, there's a private autograph by him. Amazing book. So today, we are privileged and honored to have TK with us in the show to talk to us about unsinkable mindset. So this is actually also a continuation from what we shared yesterday. Yesterday's topic was about the cruise ship as well as the speedboat. So the theme is surrounding around a ship and how can we make sure that we are continuously staying afloat. So for those of you who are joining us, we like to make this session as interactive as possible. So we love to see all your comments. So we'll be featuring your comments as well. So if you are here, please say hi to us so that we know you are here. All right. And we would like to pick your brain. So when you comment, it also helps us to understand, right, questions that you want us to explore, as well as how we can also add on to what we're going to share today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into our topic today. So, TK, so we're going to ask our first topic today. Our first topic is, how do you advise many employees out there who are currently so afraid and anxious about their uncertain future amid the COVID-19 period? TK.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Houston. Hi, my name is Tk Chang, the author of the Unsinkable Salesmanship Secrets book, and also the CSE of the Quantum Leap Technology, which is our company. Now, thank you very much for the question. And to answer your question is very simple. No, now we are now in the kind of like 5th and 6th week of the MCO, all right, Movement Control Order, and a lot of people are very afraid. So, you know, from where I come from, you know, I'm a certified trainer in neuro-linguistic programming. I'm a sales trainer and do a lot of sales motivation. So these are the questions that normally has been shared or been put forward by a lot of participants in my training. You know, they ask this kind of question, except now the COVID-19 is a slightly different situation. It's very unprecedented, but I can assure you the fear is the same. Maybe it's more intense, right? The fear is the same. So I think the first thing that you need to do is to find out the reason. You know, type the word reason if you can. Let's have a bit of interaction here and there. On the chat box, type the word reason, R-E-A-S-O-N. All right. So if you're there, you're on a laptop or you're in the Facebook Live, you know, you have some kind of apparatus for this to type. Do that. Type the word reason, right? Find the reason why you are afraid. Now, all of us have different kind of reasons. All right. Some people are afraid of losing, especially for employees. I think the one that I really hear a lot nowadays is afraid of losing their job. And when they talk about afraid of losing your job, you talk about losing your income. Then after that, the fear or the anxiety gets even more intense. Like, okay, what if I lose my job? I'm going to lose my family. And start to think of, I'm going to lose my friends. I'm going to lose my reputation. I'm going to, you know, I want to tell something secretly. Are you ready? It hasn't happened yet. All right, guys, it hasn't happened yet. So all this fear paralyze you. Now, let me repeat it one more time, right? All this fear, which is unfounded, which is actually a delusion. It's a delusion. And the delusion itself is an illusion. It has not happened yet. It's all in the brain. It's all in our mind, right? So we conjure up this illusion and delusion that make us even more anxious. And yes, that paralyzes us, right? So I think the first thing is that find out the reason why you're afraid. And I did the exercise, same thing when the MCO just happened, right? So I write down, I don't have many reasons. I just put down one. The reason that I know to myself, then I put it down, and it's called clarity. So I'm also sharing with you some strategies you can do right now as we are listening to me right now live, you write down on a piece of paper. Do you have something in front of you? Some a piece of paper. Just write down the reason that makes you afraid right now about the pandemic. Do that right now.
Thank you, TK, for sharing. In fact, many years ago, I think I attended one of your NLP program. You told us that fear is acronym for false evidence appearing real.
That's
right?
correct. That's correct.
It is something that is not happening, but it is something that is so real that you think it's already happening.
Yep.
All right. So yes, I think Reframe is a very powerful tools that we can use to help us, especially when we are facing the crisis right now. So reframing is just like, you have a frame on your picture, right? So that frame itself can actually change the whole picture, the outlook of that whole picture, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Excellent. So the second question that I would like to ask TK is, now some years ago, you launched a book titled Unsinkable Salesmanship, which I mentioned just now. That is an instant corporate bestseller. So how can that book title, especially with the key word unsinkable, be made relevant in today's crisis situation?
Okay, thank you very much for the great second question. But allow me to go back to the first question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Reframe your fear, right? So just before we get back to the question number 2, Houston, I think there's one more point I want to add to the participants. I can see maybe some of you out there are have this burning desire to want to know. So after you find out the reason why you're afraid, so what do you do next? The next is that you reframe that reason with an opposite meaning. So let me repeat. You reframe that reason with an opposite meaning. Right now, a lot of you are already in the house, staying at home, working, and some of you adjusted quite well. Some of you have not adjusted well. It doesn't matter. But a lot of the positive feedback I get on a lot of people is that they kind of like to stay at home working because it offers them a different kind of perspective, a different kind of lifestyle, other than working in the real physical environment, like in an office or in the studio or in the factory, so on and so forth. So reframe that reason with an opposite meaning. You can say that COVID-19 is an opportunity for me to stay closer to my family. All right. So that will dramatically take away a lot of fear. And you can also reframe by saying that the pandemic has allowed me to work in a different way. It's a different way. Now you can work in the bedroom, you can work in the living room, you can work anywhere else, And also there are things that have become more flexible. You can reframe your fear in a different way, that it has no longer become a fear. It has become something else, right? A change of lifestyle that allows you to have something that you never have before in a positive way. All right. So, and when you think like that, your brain and your mind will start to change the way you feel about things, right? Because now you're focusing on something positive. Reframe is about looking at an issue or looking at a challenge, from a different perspective, alternate perspective that makes you feel better. That makes you actually feel much better with that. So I think this is very important. And you have to come with your own reason with an opposite meaning to a pandemic, to a COVID-19, which is largely negative to a lot of people. All right. And number 3, I want to add to say that as a last bit is that number 3 is that you got to stay with that reason. Okay, let me repeat it one more time. Number 3 is you got to stay with that reason. So if you have the chat box, write the word stay, S-T-A-Y. You got to stay with that reason and hold on to the reframe to energize yourself, to motivate yourself every morning when you wake up. And you open up your eyes, you look at the day and tell yourself that today is a great day because I'm still with my family. And most importantly, a lot of people don't understand the reason. Like, to be able to breathe every day is a reason to be happy. It's a reason to be happy when we can breathe. And as we speak, I'm sure Houston will agree with me on this one. I'm not infected. It's a blessing. Every day I tell myself, the biggest asset, the biggest wealth that I have right now is I'm not infected. That is already a wealth. That is the reason that I have no longer be fearful about the pandemic because, blessed, touch wood, whatever, I feel good about myself, So I want to offer that 1, 2, 3 reason to you right now as a way to reframe your fear. All right, back to you, Houston.
Okay, so before we move on to second question, apologize for that. I was so excited to jump into the second question, but nonetheless, you have guided us back to reframe your fear. I think this is the really a relevant thing for us to do right now. So even though it sounds so easy, but sometimes when we are being hijacked in terms of crisis, we forget all these important pointers. So thank you for bringing these pointers back to us about how we can reframe our fear. Stay with the reason. Yes, I think rational thinking helps us. If we are able to stay rational, not emotional, so a lot of things can be overcome.
That's
all right.
correct. Yep.
So now, back to the second questions that we were exploring. So I think quite a number of us are already here. So hi, Mui Han, for tuning in. We have also Qian Jing. Qian Jing is a friend of TK. Huh? Okay, thank you for joining us. Now let's dive into our topic, the second questions today. How to stay unsinkable amid COVID-19. For those of you who join us, Tk Chang is the CSE of Quantum Leap Technology. So he's going to share with us some of the pointers and techniques that he has written a book about. So the second questions that we want to explore is, how can this unsinkable mindset, right, be made really relevant in today's crisis situation? TK.
All right, thank you very much, Houston. Another great question coming from our great host. Now, it's very simple, right? Now, for those of you just tuning in, I'm a author, the sales author of the book called Unsinkable Sales Messaging Secrets. Now, don't get me wrong. Although the book was originally written for salespeople, but it's still relevant into this market, especially the current crisis situation, because I started the book with a lot of motivational stuff, right? Because I believe that motivation is the way to help people to sustain themselves in sales. And if we were to actually apply in a different situation like the COVID-19 pandemic, right, it's really no difference because it is still going forward against a lot of obstacles and challenges and a lot of fear, anxiety, and all these things are timeless stuff that we always have to face, irrespective of any kind of crisis, like from the Asian financial crisis to dot-com bust, and to the 2009 global financial meltdown, and now to the global financial economic crisis, that kind of thing. It's the same, right? So the first point I want to add is that what I can share with you for one of the things that I wrote in the book is one of the very important principles is the only way is up. Okay, look at my finger, right? The only way is up. Okay, let me give you a scenario. Okay, to expand a little bit. We all understand there's a thing called gravity. You know gravity? Naturally, whenever you stand, whether you're on a mountain, on the river, or whatever you do, right, gravity will pull you down. Is that correct? All right. Yeah. So if you're with me right now, if you agree with me, you do this thing, right? You say, okay, that's correct. I want you to do it on the screen if you can. Okay, just do it. Okay, good. Now let's have a bit of interaction there. So the only way is up. Now gravity tends to pull us down, and you know that one of the hardest thing for people to do is to go up. Like company give you KPI, everything is going up because everything is going up, and the inflation is going up. And you look at the image I have specially prepared for you. Learn from nature. And one of the greatest teacher, I always say that, I call it in Malay called mat semut, right? One of the greatest teacher is the ant, A-N-T. Type the word A-N-T in the chat box if you don't mind. Just a bit of interaction there. A-N-T. Now you see that irrespective of what happened, the ant is always, the only way is up. They stack themselves up, they look for food. And even when they cross the river, they are always going up. And if they have never seen, they have never been able to, they never fail to upscale any kind of object. You can see they climb mountain, they can climb trees, they can do a lot of things, And we learn so much from the nature of ants staying unsinkable. We don't drown ants, all right? We don't drown ants. So the attitude of unsinkable, I mean, these great insects and these great nature beings, they never go through training. They don't read books. They don't have teachers to teach them. But by nature, I think this is how we learn from them. The only way is up. All right. So this pandemic I don't like the word called force, because a lot of people say, well, I'm very obligated. The pandemic has forced me to change. Well, to me, everything happens for a reason. Just like back to the first question, right? Everything happened for a reason. And pandemic, I use the word inspire, has inspired me to go up in terms of even learning virtual facilitation, even doing my first Facebook Live with you, even doing a lot of wonderful things, things that I also have some fear about. So now I tell myself the only way for me to go up and up, the other word for up is called improvement. Okay, in the little chat box, write the word called improvement. All right, because this is the nature, just like the universe, the natural things for universe to happen is that universe is naturally need to expand. You don't have to tell the universe what to do. So all these are sized down to a simple word called up. All right, and that is the hardest because it's very easy to fall with the gravity, and this is for failure. But for successful people, they always go against the grain and they always go up. And up is where I want to go. So back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, TK. I think your sharing has been very helpful for me. Actually, I like simple stuff. We don't have to be complicated. Human tends to complicate everything.
Yep.
My mentor, Clinton Swain, always tell us that, things can be simple, but yet we complicate things. So what you have just shared is really powerful. So if you can learn from a tiny ant, I think Mother Nature has a lot of things to teach us, right? But sometimes we as a human beings, because of our ability to think, right, it can also be something very challenging for us. So I think having you saying that the only way up is very powerful, like gravity, as you mentioned, and it also reminds me of the movie that I watched many years back, the Disney movie about going up. That old man with the balloon.
Yeah. That's a very motivating movie. Up. It's called Up. Very simple title.
Yeah, very simple title. Okay. So
and can I add to what I've just said before? Up. And back to the Ant story. Ant is my powerful teacher. And also, have you thought of the phrase? I a couple of years back I learned it from a great teacher called Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins have another great teacher called. He has another teacher, right? And he talked about the Ant philosophy. So I want to share with you about this Ant philosophy, all right? So point number 2 is about think of uptime during downtime. Think of uptime during downtime. So I want you to type in the little chat box on the word called uptime, UPTIME. UPTIME, uptime. So what happened to the ants is that ants, like I said, they are great beings. It's very, very interesting how the small little things can be so wise. You notice ants during England summertime, we call summertime where there's a lot of food. But you see that the reason why ants works very hard during the summertime, because they know winter is coming. They know winter is coming. All right. So ants has a kind of very positive attitude about sometimes under the word complacent. When we make so much money, we have a lot of savings. We tend to spend. We don't care. We never thought of pandemic is just around the corner, or maybe epidemic is around the corner, or maybe economic crisis is just around the corner. We never get prepared for it. And the ants are always prepared. That's the thing I learned from Tony Robbins' teacher, all right, called Jim Rohn. Okay, Jim Rohn, that's the name for it. And I love that so much. I teach it a lot in my seminars, about the attitude of ants. Learn from the Mother Nature, all right? So think of uptime during downtime. So now, the downtime, a lot of people think very negative. To me, downtime is positive because that reminds me to think of the uptime. That means that the time that I'm going to make money in the next 6 months. So this is how also you project yourself. Although you project yourself in the future, but it's a positive future. It's not a negative future. A lot of people right now, they are experiencing a negative future called losing the job, losing their families, losing their savings. It's all about the word losing, but they never reframe it to another word called gaining. You're gaining a positive future. This is called, during downtime right now, you think of uptime. This is how we can actually use our brain and do something different. All right. So, and of course, number 3, I just want to finish off this one, staying unsinkable, is number 3 is change with the change. All right. Point number 3, change with the change. So now change is the only thing that doesn't change. Everybody knows that, right? So now the attitude of going through this massive change, drastic change, lightning speed change, we have to change the way we change. All right, let me give you another level of thinking, very powerful. All right, now it's no longer enough to talk about change. That was about 10 years ago. Yes, we know that we need to change. Even people say that they don't like to change. Well, that is not the way you should think right now. Change is natural. Change is inevitable. And change is, we should welcome change. But now is that in terms of now with the pandemic coming in right now and has forced us so much challenges and obstacles in our life, and a lot of people get very, they have this kind of sinking feeling, right? You know, we have this topic called Unsinkable, because I thought that would be something to reframe ourselves about. Even in this challenging time, we should think very unsinkable. We should think that we're like the ants, you know, nothing can stop us. We want to build our future, you know. And the only thing that we need to change is the way we change with the change. How fast can you change? That's a key word. How fast, how courageous, and how impromptu can you change? So this is a change 3.0 that all individuals need to acquire right now. And I always say thank you, pandemic. I know that a lot of people don't like to hear this, but I say thank you, COVID-19. You have inspired me to change faster. So now we are doing this Facebook Live, we are doing virtual facilitation, and we're doing a lot of things, you know. So this is what I hope that all of you out there listening to this live training, live chatting, and live Facebook interview, you know, can acquire a different mindset about how to stay unsinkable in these extremely trying times. Yeah.
Thank you, TK, for that 3 points for being unsinkable. I think because of time constraint, we will dive into the third question so that we have enough time for a Q&A session if there are many. But anyway, for those of you who just tune in, thank you for participating. Thank you for your comments. We love it. Keep that coming in. We hope that you already get some value. Now, how many of you have already got value from what you hear today? Please say yes. Please type yes so that we know you're getting value from what we have shared so far. So, TK, last but not least, the third question that we would like to ask is that to help our listeners out there who are employees, you know, moving forward, what would be your unsinkable tips to inspire them to go into the new norm? Now, the keyword here is new norm, because I think I've been hearing that a lot, because many of the economies and business person are also saying that things will not go back to normal. It will be a new normal. So what are your final advice for employees?
All right, thank you very much. That's a great question. And actually, I think hard about this for quite some time. And I thought this is why I can offer, right? And I like to use a metaphor of a tree, T-R-E-E. All right, so type in the chat box, type the word T-R-E, tree. And I call it the tree philosophy, very simple. Now, as you are imagining a tree right now, what is the image that you have right now in your mind? A tree is always growing. All right. Now it may start from a very, very little grass, very little seed, and it slowly go into something. You know, it has this growth, and after that it gets bigger and bigger. As you can see from the little image we have attached for you there, it's called a tree philosophy. So I like to derive, like I said, the Mother Nature is always my teacher, and I also wrote in my book, The Unsinkable Sales Message Secrets, about how to use a tree philosophy in sales and marketing. But for today's purpose, I have modified and advanced it to a different kind of level of thinking. I still call it the tree philosophy, but it's different. And from the three, the first thing that comes to your mind is called grow. Everyone repeat after me, say growth, growth. All right, a tree always grow. All right, and this is called the growth mindset. And in some of my trainings in the past, you know, many companies had embarked on the necessity to train the top management and even of the international branches, you know, about growing. Because if you don't have a growth mindset, we can't cope with the ever-changing landscape of business, competitiveness, you know, and all the challenges, you know, coming against us. So we need to grow. Just like universe is always expanding, right? Nobody teaches the universe what to do. They always expand. So we need to have a growth mindset. Now, back to the pandemic. I think the pandemic has made all of us realize that we need to grow, because growth is the only way to overcome the pandemic. It's not to be afraid of the pandemic, because if you're more fearful, you're afraid, you take a step back and you get paralyzed, you get fearful, you get anxious, you lose. You are beaten by a virus. But instead of looking at virus as just the enemy, I would like to reframe my thinking by looking at virus like a friend, to remind us that we need to grow, to have a different kind of mindset. so that we can go into a different kind of era, ERA. Now we
So,
talk about industrial relationship, industrial number 4.0. So we have to go into the 5.0, you know. So this is a growth mindset. And this growth mindset is very important because if you keep on expanding yourself, growth also can suggest and implies learning, keep on learning and learn. And as long as you learn, I think this is a better tool to stay afloat in a very competitive business landscape. Back to you, Houston.
So we have, thank you, TK, for that amazing metaphor about a tree. So Brother Singbi commented, I call it continuous learning. Yes, can I? Continuous and never ending improvement.
Improvement, that's correct.
Yeah. So learning is for us to improve as we go along. So I think we have 5 minutes more, you know, to end our show. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna pick some of the comments here and actually discuss a bit further on what TK has shared with us, and then TK is gonna wrap up for us, and we're gonna have TK to do the summary in a short while. I think there's a very interesting comment by Mitra Chong saying that this time is part of life challenges and these too shall pass. Wonderful wisdom. Nothing stays permanent. Huh? So as TK you mentioned just now, everything that goes up has to come down. So how do we have this reframing of mindset when we are at the downtime? Think of the uptime. Huh? So when we are uptime, we have to think of the downtime also, right?
Yep.
Correct. So then you will be able not to be so complacent, right? When you are up.
Yep.
Huh? So and then we have one comment from Catherine. Catherine, thank you for tuning in. Catherine say, yes, count our blessings, embrace change. Yes, I'm deeply grateful for all the love, joy, and abundance that surrounds me. When we have blessing, actually fear cannot stay in the same place when you have blessing. So I think I learned that from you as well, you know. So thank you for all those excellent comments. So we have 3 more minutes remaining. So I would like to reserve this time for TK to help us to summarize what you have just shared so far. TK.
All right. So thank you very much, Houston, for the great opportunity for me to share. And the 3 things that we learned today, okay, out of the 3 great questions. So I would like to summarize for you the first one. So the first one is reframe your fear. All right. The first thing that is the immediate reaction to the pandemic, it started as an epidemic or sometimes called outbreak, and it become a pandemic, and the fear has become intensified. So we need to have this tool. Reframing is a tool from origin from neuro-linguistic programming, which I use a lot in my business and also in my teaching and in my helping, you know, in my community work, you know, to help people to reframe. And fear is one thing that is really, whether you believe or not, fear is the biggest enemy and not the virus. The virus is not your enemy, it's your own fear. And that is the inner virus. That is the virus that has sunk into us. So we need to get rid of it. So the only thing I feel that you can actually do is to reframe it and to shift the negative feeling towards a positive feeling with valid reason. Like look at it as something positive that can happen, like closer to your family, you know, work has become more flexible. In a way, you know, it allows me to start to do things differently, you know, and that kind of thing. So you have to start the kind of different kind of thinking. And number 2 is to stay unsinkable and use the metaphor of ants, you know, like we call the ant philosophy, and learn from the nature of how even small insects can survive in any extreme situation, whether it's hot, cold. They can survive in any situation. If I'm not wrong, I read somewhere that cockroaches has been around for a few million years. Even bees, I think it's about 4 million years, you know. So something must be right. These creatures, these insects must have done something right to survive for so long. Because to me, they are staying unsinkable. So I think these are the teachers that we need to learn from. And last but not least, the 3 philosophy that sums up the whole sharing of this afternoon about always stay in the growth mode, right? And you're going to develop a growth mindset that I think as long as we keep on growing, embracing change, you know, and continuous learning, that's a keyword. Thank you very much, Singbi, you know, for adding that to us, you know. This is how we can always stay prosper, stay safe, stay alive, and most important of all, stay successful. All right. So thank you very much for listening in, and God bless you. And I hope that all of us can benefit from this sharing. And I'd love to come back and share another session with you on other stuff that I've written in the book, which I feel that will be very, very helpful to help all of us to stay afloat, to combat this COVID-19 virus, and to come out even more successful on the other side. Thank you. Back to you, Wilson.
Thank you very much, TK. Let's give TK a big round of applause for your amazing sharing today. So for those of you who want to find out more about TK, the website is there. Please log on to www.quantumleap-seminar.com. And if you're interested to read about TK Chang's book, I have one copy here with me. TK, where can we buy your book right now?
Go to my website and put an order.
Okay, cool.
You can actually find the relevant menu there, button there, and get the book. The book is all sold out in MPH and Popular. You can't get it. You can only get it from me. In the bookstore, it's all sold out. Now, I just want to say something very quickly. I'm not here to make money from you. I'm here to help people. All right. So if you like the motivation I share, and largely it's actually from that book, although it's about 6 years ago, but I think it still stay relevant in this crisis. So if you like the motivation, and talk to me, engage me, whatever, talk to me, and go to quantumleapseminar.com there and leave a note. We can stay in touch. I have some of my email address is there, and my telephone number is there. Stay afloat. And I would like to see you on the other side of success.
All right. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to our Take 5 at 5. Love all your comments. We look forward to seeing you in the next show. So with this, high five.